All right, guys, thank you for joining me again at Tate Township Public Library Craft. My name is Heather, and I'm going to be showing you today in several parts how to make a spooky floating flying bat and a wax dripping spooky candle that glows and floats. All right, so get your bag or your kit or all your materials ready if you decided to follow along at home after we sold out of kits, and follow along with your instructions. I know I will be. All right, remember to have fun, take your time, and make sure the paint's dry. All right, go on to the next step. So first things first, we want to divide up what we need for the two separate crafts. So when you empty out your kit, you get everything you see on this side. Oh, we can't see everything. And on this side of my table is everything that you'll need at home to complete the craft. So for the spooky bat, we have the rectangle of felt and the toilet paper roll or loo roll and a rectangle of cardstock, and then this little baggie, which I'll leave until we're ready to glue them on, we have googly eyes, a pom-pom nose, and then both crafts need the fishing line. So we'll just set that aside for when we're almost done. Oh, can't see it there. And then we also have our bat wings. And then you'll need the white paint for that craft we'll put over here. And you will need the paintbrush out of your own supplies and the scissors. So we'll put those up near the front for the bat craft. Piece of felt and place it portrait style in front of you. So that means that the longer side goes like this and the shorter side is parallel with you and like that. And then lay a line of hot glue along the bottom edge of your felt. So my hot glue gun is ready. Along the bottom edge of my felt, I'm going to put a line of glue like this. All right, then we're going to put our, hey, stay where I put you. There we go. Put your bat on there, or your toilet paper roll that's going to be a bat, lengthwise on top of the glue, and then you roll the felt all along around, and then you're going to glue. Oh, it glued itself already. Because I had it right on the edge. So then you're going to glue your edge of felt, because she's cut them perfectly that they meet. Look at that. And then this is going to be the back of your bat where the seam is, okay? So I'm just going to add a bit more glue to make sure that it's secure. And then it says, take your scissors and carefully trim the excess felt from the top and bottom of your bat body. And then it's time to make the bat ears. All right. I think that's pretty secure. All right, so now we're gonna take the scissors. I did my bottom, I put it to one side, so I don't really need to trim that edge, but I do need to trim this one because you can see that's where my toilet paper roll is. So very carefully, again, ask mom and dad for help. Don't be afraid to ask mom and dad for help. Go around and cut your felt so that it's the same length as the toilet paper roll. Voila, and this is just garbage. I'll put it over there. Okay. Now it says take your black cardstock that's a rectangle, that's this one, and fold it in half. So we're going to fold it in half, the longer way to the short edge. Okay. So now I've got a little bit rectangle like that. And then we're going to take our scissors to cut one end of the folded cardstock into an arrow shape. So we're going to make a triangle out of the one side. So you're going to cut the two corners off. So about a third of the way down. So about this far down, and then you're going to cut a triangle and edge like that. Go like this, and like this. See? fold it and cut along the fold. That way it makes 2 ears exactly the same. There we go. And then we're gonna add glue to the squared end pieces and stick them on the inside of the bat body, leaving only the pointy ends sticking out. So the size of your triangle top is how big your ears are gonna be. And remember that seam, I don't know if you can see I've got a little bit of a seam here. That's the back of the bat, we don't wanna see that. So turn that around and we're going to stick them on the inside of the bat body on the front, like this. So stick a little hot glue on the front of there, and we'll put one there. Ouch, that's warm. And do the same thing on the other side. So there's my 2 bat ears. Well, one's a little shorter than the other, but that's okay. All right, next it says the googly eyes. So we need to open up our little baggie and take out our fishing line and our googly eyes. And it says googly eyes, then the mini pom-pom for a nose, and then we're going to use our white paint or a chalk or a marker to add a spooky sneer or a ghoulish grin. Don't forget the fangs. That's important. All right, so take our googly eye and put a little bit of hot glue for one eye. And another one. Oh, my one eye googly eye is stuck. He looks a little goofy. And now, right in the middle below, we're going to put his nose. Little pom-pom. And then, shake my white paint. I'm just going to put some up here. Where's the paint? Or you can use a marker. And I always suggest working on craft paper. There's always a picture on the front of your instructions that you can reference if you want. So I'm gonna draw, I see what she did. Jessica made these instructions. So we're gonna draw a smiley face. With our paint, it does pick up a little bit of fuzz. And then fangs are triangles. So we're gonna do triangles because he's a spookily bat. As my guy likes to say, spookily. My guy looks a little more goofy than spookily though. I think I need a little bit more paint. So that one eye is still stuck. There we go. And I like to do little cheeky smiles. The little cheek, that's the little circle lines that make their cheeks when you do that. Hot glue string. There we go. Now what's missing? He kind of looks like a mouse right now with fangs. We need a bat wings. So if you look carefully, you'll see that there are 2 score lines on the wings. These are to help you fold the wings back so they stick out from the body. After you've done that, add a healthy amount of hot glue to the space between the score lines and stick them on the back over your bat seam. Let's see. Oh, I see the score lines. You guys look. Oh, now you can see it. See those 2 shiny lines? So we want to fold those back. Oh yeah. Fold them both the same way. Because otherwise they'd stick straight out. We can go like this. See? Now how far up? Oh, I just touched my pen. Don't do that. There we go. Okay. So how far up did she stick the bat wings? Let's check that out. About halfway. Like that. So we're going to put some hot glue on here. I did like 3 lines, hot glue, big squiggly line, and then about halfway up, right over the seam, we stick on our bat wings. Ooh, that's so cool. The one eyeball, still stuck. I forgot a step. It says before you put the wings on, you're supposed to put your fishing line through. But that's okay, we can still do that. So it says to hang your bat, we're going to use a length of fishing line. So thread your needle with the line and about 1 inch down from the top, carefully press your needle through the right hand side of your bat and exit directly on the other side. And then you tie the 2 ends together. So we're going to take some fishing line and unravel it from our little spool. She said we need about 1 meter. That's like, if you guys go like the length of your arms, that's probably good. So you can hang it somewhere. So we're going to cut that and then give it a little tug to straighten it out. Not too hard, don't hurt yourself, but it got a little zigzaggy. There we go. And we're going to take our sewing needle again. Ask Mom and Dad for help if you don't feel comfortable doing this part. So pull it through your needle a good length. Now my needle I don't think is long enough to go right to the other side. We will see. So usually you do this. I just touched my fat fang again. Silly me. So about 1 inch of the way down, like here. You see my needle? Well, that looks weird. Looks like you're going through the side of his head. So carefully wiggle it through. Can you see my sewing needle on the inside? There it is. And then through the other side. Yeah, my needle's not quite long enough to do it that way. But I got small fingers to go through. Look it through. There we go. Now I should. There we go. So you can see the line through? Not quite. Okay, so be really careful with the sewing needle. And then pull it, but don't pull it all the way out. Pull your needle off and make sure the string stays through. And I gotta squish his head back. There we go. It'll probably be easier when the wings aren't on there, so do the string before the wings. And then we want to tie this into a knot so we can hang him. There we go. Now he can fly. And then for the floating candle, you need your toilet paper roll, or sorry, no, paper towel roll because it's longer. A tea light, a battery operated tea light, the black paint and the foam brush, popsicle stick, and a circle. And then you'll also need a bowl, some cornstarch. And if anybody knows or saw my slime video or bouncy ball video, I always use more cornstarch than I need. So we'll see how it goes today. But Jess tested it out. She's got the measurements down, so. And then we also need white glue, and we also need a measuring spoon. So let's turn to our instructions to the first page of the floating candle one. And it says that we need to make 4 holes. Oh, I forgot to show you I have a sewing needle here. So you do need a sewing needle. You can see my little sewing needle. And we need to make 4 holes so that there's something for the candle to rest on. See, it's going to go inside in the top, but we want to make 4 holes for our string to go through that's going to hold that before we put our glue on. So about 3/4 of an inch down, we want to make a hole on 4 sides. You see I've stuck that in there, and you might need Mom and Dad's help for this part, but if your needle's pretty sharp, it's not too hard to go through. So you want to make one there, and then at the same height on this side, so there'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 sides, so it makes a T. So there's 1 hole, there's a 2nd hole, and across from the 1st hole, we're going to do a 3rd one, and then lastly a 4th hole. And now keep in mind, actually, I'm going to grab a marker and put a little dot so I can see where my holes are. I can mark where they are. So go grab a marker and come right back. So I grabbed a marker and I'm just going to put a little circle around where my pinholes are so that I don't put glue over top of them, because we want to avoid putting our pretend wax on. Do 1, 2. I'm going to do this one. I got an extra hole. So the next part we're going to stand that up right over here out of the way. We're going to mix up our pretend wax or wax. So she says, let's make some goop. So we're going to put, it says 1 teaspoon of cornstarch in your bowl. So using your measuring spoon, measure out 1 teaspoon in your bowl. And then add 1.5 teaspoons. Put my cornstarch out of the way so I don't spill it. Oh, it's stuck. There we go. And we're going to take 1.5 teaspoons. 1. Oh. And then not quite as full. Ooh, put some back in there. 1/2 teaspoon. Or you can use a 1/2 teaspoon measure. All right, get all the glue out of your teaspoon. And we'll wash that in a little while. And then using your popsicle stick, stir it up to make almost slime. So keep mixing. It looked dry at first, but now it's getting a little bit gloppier. And you want it to be consistent to create a wax effect. So you do have to mix it quite a bit. Mix it. So you can scrape it on the side of your bowl to see how well it's going to glop. You see how it kind of looks like wax there? Okay, so let's scrape this to one side. Now this is the fun part. I've been so excited to do this craft. So we're going to take our paper towel roll, stand it up, and then you're going to take little bits of your glop, and you're going to scrape it, let it drip a bit, and scrape it. See how it's dripping? On the side. And then it's going to run down and look like melting wax when we're done. So take another little bit just on the end of your thing, and you can experiment with how much you put on. Do another one right beside. This one's a little bit shorter, and then you leave it standing up, and it starts to drip down. Oh, that's going to look so neat. Now remember, don't do it over where your holes are. See, I marked mine. I'm going to do one over my bad hole. And you can coax it, like use your popsicle stick and just Push it down a bit. And you want them to be all different lengths. All right, let's do a few more. So I got lots on that one. You scrape it off and let it fall down. Yeah, see? First one I did has gone really long. Whoa! Now don't let it fall over. You don't want to smush your wax. See, you can use the edge of your popsicle stick and glop it around. It's like playing with slime. This one went a little flat over here, so I'm just going to add some more. Just don't let it cover your arms. Oh, it's pretty neat. I think I've got enough wax on there now, so I'm going to leave it to dry. I have left this to dry for over an hour, and it's still pretty squishy. So I think it's best that we leave it overnight, and then we'll finish it the next day. It dripped down pretty far, and I still had a little bit of my goop left, so I went and put a little bit more on the edges, so you can see it's got a bit more bumps. And it looks pretty neat, all different heights. So go ahead and do that if you want to make more goop and more cornstarch and glue and add more wax. Feel free to do that now. And let it dry a full day before you try and paint it with the black paint. So we'll come back and finish this. Hi everyone, welcome back. So now your floating candle should be all dry, the glue part. Now I did, before the mixture completely hardened up, I went and put some extra globs so you can see just what I had left, and you can do that too. As the glue dries, you can add a little bit more, but that looks pretty neat. So the next part we're gonna do is paint the entire tube, our entire candle, and we're also gonna paint the top of our tea light so that it looks black and matches. Now if you want, we've given you a portion of black paint to paint the whole thing black to make a spooky Halloween candle, but you can go with a different color and paint over your white glue with like a fluorescent color if you wanted it to be a bit different and paint the rest black, or paint it a completely different color. That's up to you. So let's go ahead and paint this black. I'll try not to get paint everywhere. So we've given you a foam brush so that it gets into all the nooks and crannies of it. But first let's paint the tea light. Now you don't want to paint over the flame part, just the top. So very carefully make sure there's no fuzz on there from that felt from yesterday. And then and if you get it on, you can wipe it off before it dries. So just go around and do little strokes. Go this way, towards it and out, so you don't get any paint on that. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does give it a pretty neat effect that it matches. All right, so I've got I got a little bit on there, so just wipe that off. So there we go. And we'll put that off to the side to dry, and now we're going to go and get all the nooks and crannies of our candle. I'll start at the top. And just don't push too hard, because you don't want to knock your wax off, your pretend wax. So I'm just going up and down. You can change which direction the brush you put it so that it gets into all those nooks and crannies. You can already see it looks really neat and waxy. Such a cool technique to do it too. All right, now you finish painting, and then leave it to dry, and when it's all dry, come back and watch the next part where we add the string and then got the candle on there, okay? So finish painting and come back when it's dry. Okay, so these are pretty much dry, and the next step we're gonna do is take what's left of our fishing line and cut it in half. So unwind it all. Probably could have used longer for the bat, but it says there's 3 meters, so 1 meter for the bat and 2 meters for the candle. So you can use a big ruler and measure it out if you want. Whoa. All right, so give it a good pull to straighten it out. Not all crinkly, and then take the 2 ends and put them together. So right there, and then cut it in half. Oh, while we were doing that, we were supposed to let the glue dry for this part. Oh, that's okay. And the instructions says to do this part first. I'm jumping ahead again. All right, so we want to glue on the bottom of our candle this black circle. So take your white glue and do a thin line around the outside, like that. And then glue your circle on the bottom. There we go, seals it off. Now when I painted, and I painted inside just about a ½ inch so that you can, just in case if the candle goes in a little bit further, you won't see the cardboard, okay? So the other thing you want to do while your glue is drying, oh, my circle shifted a bit, push that onto the table, is find your holes and just push your pin. Use mom and dad's help because the paint might have sealed up their holes a little bit, but you can still see them. So just push your needle through a little bit just so you don't lose your holes. Oh, now I've glued my circle to the table. There we go. Okay, so before we go and do the next part with the string, let your circle dry on the bottom. Okay, so come back in a few minutes when the white glue is dry on the bottom. Okay, so it's still a little wet, but almost dry that it's not going to fall off. My circle on there. You can see a little bit of white, and that'll dry clear. And all my paint's dry, so now we get to do the fun part. We get to put the strings in through the top that are going to hang it, but also hold up the candle so it doesn't fall down inside. So we're going to take one of our pieces of string. See, I got 2 separate ones because we cut it in half. And we're going to thread it on our needle. And thread it through one side, through the other, through those holes we poked earlier. So, and again, ask mommy and daddy for help if you're having trouble or are scared of the needle. All right, yank it through. Try not to poke yourself. Come on, get through there. There we go. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. The end of my needle is having trouble getting through the cardboard. Definitely ask mom and dad for help. There we go. I got it through one side. And now find your other hole and put it through the other side. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. And then pull the needle off, but keep the string through. See, almost through it. I've got it bouncing on a string. So now we're going to do the same thing with the second string. Put your needle on on the string and pull a bit through. And find your 2 other holes. There we go, one side. I think if you use a little bit longer needle than what I've got, you can go through one side and then the other. But mine's a little short, and it has a tendency to get stuck. There we go. And then through the other hole. It's hard to see that other hole from the inside, but there we go. Perfect. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Perfect, all right. Now hold on to one side so you can pull the needle off and it doesn't fall off, the string doesn't fall out. There we go. So now you should have a T. You see my strings? See they're shiny inside. Okay. Now what does Jessica say in the instructions? She says, bring the 4 ends of your fishing line together and tie them in a knot so that your candle will hang straight up and down. And you might have to adjust the knot and untie it and tie it a few times so that you get all the strings the same length. So you might have to pull them a bit. Ooh, don't pull it out. Oh, we're good, we're good. You guys are probably laughing at home at all my funny noises in this video. So, if you grab the 2 that are, go like that, and then pull this one up, and then the 4th one. One of mine is shorter than the other. There we go. You could always trim off, see I've got a bunch of ends, trim off the extras. So as long as you tie all 4 together, you might want to do a double. So do 1 more knot on top of that so it doesn't come apart. Give it a good tug, see? You got a knot in there. And then the only thing left to do is turn on your tea light and put it in the top so it rests on those strings. So we've given you enough to do this project for 1 with 1 tea light, but if you happen to find more supplies, you could always make more, because it looks really neat when you do a couple at different heights and group them together. So put that in the top. Ooh. And then you can hang it up. You can see my spooky tea light, my spooky candle with all the wax dripping down. All right, I hope you had a lot of fun in this craft, making a spooky bat and a spooky drippy wax candle. And remember to please share your photos to library@tay.ca. We love seeing what you make, and we like sharing them on our Facebook page if you guys allow them to, so that everybody can see the cool crafts that everyone comes up with. They always look a little bit different, and that's really neat to see the outcome because you can't right now. So again, I hope you had fun, and thanks for doing another Tay Township Public Library craft. Bye.